Okay, how about an update on what's going on with CV19 and my wife? Well, my 27-year-old son caught it the next day. His initial symptoms were for about 6 or 7 hours, he had severe pain in his joints and then later severe headache. And that's pretty much where he's been staying. That's where it's at with him. He doesn't seem to have it as bad as my wife has it. We doubled him up on vitamin C, and he seems to be staying the same. He's only had it for 2 or 3 days now. My wife had talked to a doctor, and apparently she was getting worse. She was trying to sleep sitting up because she doesn't want to catch pneumonia. My wife is known for catching pneumonia. 10 years ago, before we quit smoking, she used to get pneumonia twice a year. And since we quit smoking 10 years ago, she stopped getting pneumonia. But it's always hanging there on the edge. So if you smoke, I keep telling everybody to quit. It's not good for your lungs. And I find it funny, a lot of people that smoke went and actually got the vaccine. And that really made no sense to me when I seen that. Like they were hoping the vaccine would help them. If you smoke, you make your lungs weak. And when your lungs get infected, it's not going to help you. So taking the vaccine really isn't making that big of a difference. You're not making your body strong. It just seems like it defeats the purpose. You really should quit smoking. Of course, you already know that. Now, my wife continued to get worse. We did check her oxygen levels. We checked it in the morning, at noon, and at night, and her oxygen levels were dropping. And that's when she called the doctor. And they have her on a drug now, which maybe a lot of you don't know about. I'll touch on this in a bit. I got a kick out of some of the comments I got from my video about talking about it. Of course, somebody had to tell me about the horseworm medicine. Go take some of that. I just kind of giggled. You know, as human beings, we normally take drugs that have been tested in control groups where they give so many people a placebo and they give so many people the real drug and then they start to test how it works. Because a lot of times when people have been given a placebo, which is basically a sugar pill, they believe something's working because it's in their head. You can actually convince somebody they're getting well when they're truly not. I prefer science. I don't prefer a bunch of propaganda, and because 5 or 10 people took some worm medicine that horses take, it cured them. Now, you have to understand something, and this is the funny part. When somebody says, I was taking that worm medicine for the horses, and it cured me, and everybody jumps on the bandwagon and automatically believes that's going to work for them. That's not true. As human beings, we're all different, okay? I haven't caught it. There's a perfect example. Not yet. And there could be reasons for that. I mean, I like soup. I eat a lot of soup. Is that why? I take vitamin C every day. Is that why? I mean, there are so many different common denominators here that can change the dynamics of something that you have to understand we're all different. And when they do control groups, they do it by what they eat, what kind of pills they take. You can't do a control group and give somebody carrots and give somebody else strawberries. Everything changes. So, and then you have to go on other situations. Like I had one guy comment and said, I'm 67, I smoke, I'm overweight, never got it. And I just kind of giggled with that comment. I did reply to him. I told him that 2.2 million people have died from it. I'm basically insinuating to him, make the sign of the cross and consider yourself lucky. You're one of the few. There are some people that are carriers. I don't know what it is, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 3,000, that have it and don't get sick. All they do is carry it around and spread it around. They're actually more dangerous than somebody that gets it. So there's all different things that go on when you try to narrow this stuff down. But taking horse dewormer is not my idea of something smart to do. Now, being that my wife was getting worse, they put her on this medicine that came from giving, they gave it to people that was on influenza, and I think they've altered it a little bit. I'll have a link to where you can read about it, and I'll have a 2-minute video that explains it. But it's actually called, see if I say this right, Molnupiravir. Molnupiravir? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. But I'll give you a link to it so you can actually. I'll give you 3 links. One, how to pronounce it, one to where it talks about it in in-depth detail, and one with the video. Now, what's interesting about this, from what I gathered from the video, and this drug was made, invented by scientists in the Emory University, and they have an animation of it. So when CV19 starts to infect you, it infects a cell and it turns that cell into a factory, which in turn makes more CV19. Okay, so how many cells you got in your body? Thousands, millions? So you literally have all these little baby factories creating CV19. By the time your antibodies catch up, you have more CV19 in your body than you do antibodies. So this is when people die. And this is why they incubate them and they put that thing down their throat, because they're trying to give them time. They're trying to give the body time to produce more antivirus. So, and hopefully it works, but a lot of times it doesn't. Well, this drug is pretty neat. She takes 4 every 12 hours. And first, I gotta make sure I tell you this. I wrote it down. In order to get this drug, you have to have mild to moderate CV19, and you have to have it within 5 days, 5 days of the symptoms that kick in. And she was on the borderline, and the doctor prescribed it, and she's now taking them. Now she's only been taking them for a day. There's no difference yet. She still feels the same. But what this does is, when the cell starts to create CV19 and pushes out more, this changes it. So as it goes to turn that cell and produce CV19, kind of like a copy machine, because it keeps copying it, then it changes the dynamics or the DNA. I don't know which way to say it, but it changes what it is. So it's no longer a virus. It's no longer CV19. So the actual DNA in there, it changes 3, 4, 5 little markers and basically programs it into something that's no good. It's not CV19 no more. So now the cell's not making CV19 anymore. So definitely your antibodies are going to catch up and take it off. Now, why they say you shouldn't have it for after 5 days, you can't take it, I don't know. Maybe by this time your body's creating so many antibodies that if you give them this drug, it will destroy your antibodies from being created. I don't know. But it looks like everything's a balance from slowing down the CV19 that it's producing to give your body time to produce what's needed to fight it. It's actually pretty cool. When I watched the video, I went, that's pretty impressive. That's genius that they even came up with that. It really, really is. And I really suggest you go watch that video. And I suggest you save the video of this one, mine, for the name of this stuff. So if you're within the 5 days of catching CV19, you can ask your doctor about it. Big question is, what does it cost? It doesn't cost a dime. It's completely free. I had to go to Walmart to pick it up in my local town. The little drugstores here, we have 2 of them, did not have it. I had to drive a half an hour to Walmart to go get it. And basically, it's free. It don't cost you a dime. You just walk in, give your name. It has to be prescribed from a doctor, and you're good to go. So if you're on your first, second, third day of catching this, and you feel like you're getting worse, you may want to talk to your doctor about this particular name and give yourself a fighting chance whatever you can. It is interesting to see how quickly, and I think that's because of Donald Trump, how quickly all this came to be, and how we had vaccines, we had just about everything. And now I didn't even know this drug existed until the wife told me about it. And then I went and I looked it all up. But she's breathing fine. Um, she's eating fine. We do have her on vitamin D, vitamin C, and some of the other comments that people suggested. But to give her worm medicine from a horse, no, we're not going to do that. And if you're one of those people that haven't gotten sick, count yourself lucky. You're one of the fortunate. I'm, 58 years old here, and I haven't caught it at all. I've been around her a little bit. I've been around my son. Um, I go upstairs into the house. I do use the bathroom. So personally, I think I should have caught it, but I haven't. Not yet. Knock on wood. You know. But anything can happen and change because over time, more things, as you can see, are being invented and come out. And I would really check that video. I really would. It's a cartoon video that was made by the scientists in Emory University to try and explain as basic as you can. And I was pretty impressed when I watched it on what's going on. And knowing this and having this information in case because you are going to get it. It's like my wife said, this is here to stay. So you may get it 6 months from now, you may get it a year from now, 5 years from now. And by then they might have something different. But obviously, keeping yourself educated on what's out there and what you can use to help you feel better is obviously very important. I'll report back again when she starts to feel better. And it really hasn't affected my son that bad. He's able to walk around, do some work. I mean, it's just uncomfortable. That's about it. He has taken acetaminophen for the joint pains, but he's nowhere near as bad as what my wife is. But then he's 27 years old, right? And I haven't caught it at all yet. I do stay away from him 99.9% of the time, but it don't take much to catch it because it's highly contagious. The doctor did say even though they have it, they are still very contagious up to 10 days. So even when they're feeling 100% better, they're still contagious for like another week. And if my wife was to test herself with one of those at-home tests for this CV19, she was told that it would give a false positive basically for the next couple of months. If she was to test herself, it would come back as positive. So that's kind of interesting. So if you have it, don't give yourself those home tests or else you're just wasting them. Wait until you're not sure. So again, I'll have 3 links in the bottom that explain this drug in detail. One's a video, and hopefully it'll help you if you ever get it. But everything's going good, and hopefully she beats this. I'll catch you guys on the next one.